Hello and welcome to another episode of Evening Crypto with your boy, your host, the Real Shot 256. Thanks for joining. Thanks for being here. I do want to start things off tonight by kind of recapping what happened from our last video to now. If you were paying attention, if you watched our last video where we talked about the futures launch, the physically settled futures contract on Backed, the platform. We did a short video on that, and ever since we actually talked about the move that was coming up off of this ascending or descending triangle, however you want to call it. There's people calling it both ways. That really doesn't matter. The point is the formation when it actually came to an end. The price of Bitcoin hit the apex on the formation, and we actually resolved to the downside, which is something that I prepared you guys for. In a way, I was telling you on Sunday's night video that I was definitely leaning to the downside. I was leaning for that formation to actually end up breaking down off of it as opposed to breaking out and into previous highs. And we did see the price of Bitcoin, unfortunately, for a lot of people, actually break down from that formation. And we are actually now retesting previous lows. Quote unquote previous lows. We're actually still significantly higher above where we started the year 2019. We're still close to about 150, 175% from the beginning of the year. We're going to actually place a move here in just a little bit. I'm starting off with this page, so if you guys want to reach out to me, you can do so on my Twitter handle here at the Real Shot 256. You can always send me direct messages there. Let me know that you're following, and we can talk about anything that we are talking about on these videos. If you have any questions about the TA section, how to use certain tools or whatever, you guys can reach me there. And I don't charge for any of this stuff. If you guys are in some sort of signals or trading group where they charge for say training or advice on how to use these tools, I don't do that. I don't like to do that. First of all, I don't think myself in that sort of way. You guys can always reach me, and I can walk you through what I'm doing and how how I'm setting up what my trades and whatnot. So if you guys want to do that, you can do it here through my Twitter account. All right, let's get started with the state of the market. We're currently at 222, as opposed from our last video, we were at 264 billion market cap. We're down quite significantly, about a $40 billion sell-off in the market. And trading volume, again, a lot of the 75 billion in the last 24 hours has actually been selling pressure, selling volume. A lot of people selling off of their positions, expecting the move to the downside, as we told you here in the channel. Now, according to CoinMarketCap, the Bitcoin dominance is down to 68.4%. We'll take a look at a contrasting opinion on the side of trading view here. We'll take a look at that, and we'll also take a look at the CME gap, which has already been filled. That is something that I also was telling you guys and warning you guys about. And my whole thing about the CME gap was that we wanted to make sure that we filled this gap before we go any further high up, because it would mean that if we went up higher, the chances are that we would have an even bigger crash and to come back down and fill this gap. We eventually did. It took about 4 months, 3.5 to 4 months to fill this gap, but eventually it did, right? I mean, and I was telling you guys along the way that along this formation here that, hey, there is a gap down here. We're going to come back and fill it. The best thing that could happen for this event is that we come back and fill it sooner rather than later, because it would mean that Bitcoin would actually reach to previous highs, if not higher prices, and then have a nasty, just very, very dramatic fall off to come back and refill this gap. So the fact that we're doing it here from, say, this point here at from 9,700 to 8,500, it's not such a drastic move. Still is meaningful, still a meaningful move, still a meaningful sell-off, but not as drastic as, say, opposed to us getting to $14,000, $15,000, $16,000 Bitcoin and then having to crash all the way down to a 50% retracement, quite possibly, hypothetically, down to fill this $8,500 gap here in the CMEs. Again, it took some time to do that, and these things, like I said, take time, and we see the gap here being reflected here with this box here. And we are coming down to refill it now. We've definitely closed some significant candles. If we look at the daily, we see that we've actually opened and closed a few candles right in this area here, but everything is still been in the red here with the CMEs in the last, call it 36 hours, 48 hours. So there it is. We can now finally say that the gap has been filled. We are done with that, and we can move on to other things, that are more pertinent and more important to the crypto sphere. All right, so yeah, we filled the gap. So what's next, right? That's probably something that's on your mind, on everybody's mind. Well, if that is something that you are kind of contemplating and just kind of evaluating on the short term of things, well, the thing is, we did this, we measured this move off of this triangle here, and I told you guys that the decision whether it was to break out or break down, we would see a massive move, whether upside or downside, right? And we are just seeing the beginning of that. You probably have been hearing in a lot of other channels, a lot of media outlets, that this is probably not the end. And I would concur with that. I would definitely agree with that message. If you are hearing that from other traders, other TA guys, other fundamentalists, I would agree with that whole message that this is just a temporary stop. We did fill the gap at 8,500, but that's just the beginning of that. That's about halfway, in my opinion. I do think that we're going to come back and retest some lower areas. Let's actually bring out our Fibonacci extension tool here, retracement tool, from the the low point to our high point, right about there. Let's make sure we got the absolute low here. No, we actually missed it by a little tiny bit. Here we go, right there. All right, so taking a look at this, we do see some confluence where the current price of Bitcoin is sitting at around 8,400. There between 83 and 8,400. There was a big significant line of support here at 8,500, where the CME gap was coming in at. We are definitely currently seeing that area here is holding for the moment, but again, not really something that I see actually holding longer term. Expect to move within the week. I would expect to move within the week to come back down and retest the 618 somewhere in here, where the 618 is coming in from. And then the great thing is we do have the golden pocket, the golden zone here, coming in right underneath the 0.618 Fibonacci, where a lot of buyers are going to be coming in at this area, right? There's going to be a lot of buying pressure starting right underneath the 718 at 7,200, which I do believe eventually we are. Again, I do see this happening within the week, that we do come back and retest. This will be the first area, right? Just like we broke down from this pivot point, as I was telling you on my last couple of videos, I was telling you first we need to break below this pivot here, and then once we break that, we're going to break this pivot here. Once we break that, that means we're going to break this low ascending line of support, and then we're going to come back and retest. It's actually retest this area of support here. We actually blew right through it. So definitely not a good sign. Let's actually get rid of these and bring in these, because again, that was coming in, that area of support was coming in right along and confluence with the 200. We broke down below it. I mean, there was not even a thought behind the move, which is again just telling you how decisive this move is. Looking at the 4 hour here, but I think the 1 day is definitely something that we got to pay more attention to, given that this move is definitely letting us know what the deal is. Actually finding support at the 377 down below the 200 there. Finding support there, bouncing off of it nicely, and settling right around 83, 8400 at the current moment. I do expect us to keep trading within this range here between the 377 to 200 for a shorter period of time. Maybe, like I said, within a week, we should have another move to the downside. We could find that there is a retest of the 200 like we did immediately on the next daily candle. We did come back and retest the 200, but we failed. But I do see another retest of the 200 before we actually come back and retest the 377, and then from there we should break down, because again, most likely we are going to see a rejection off of the 200 here, and come back and retest previous area right now at 8,300 where we currently are at. So we are going to retest that area on the way back down from the first or second try at the 200, and then quite possibly retest the 377 here at 7,900. That's going to be a key area, but we might find another momentarily a bounce there, but then eventually break down from the 377 and come back and retest the 786 at around 5,500, 5,400. Again, a lot of buyers are going to come in at that point, right? Within the week, we should be at 7,200. That's a little bit of me doing a little bit of little bit of crystal ball type of messaging, but I'll tell you this: I don't really like to get into this unless I am really positive about what's going on. I could still be wrong, but I could be wrong, but I still am very confident that this is going to happen, right? And we've been actually talking about this since we got to 14,000, right? When we saw this peak here, we were actually talking about this potential move to come back and retest the 785. So, these moves have taken a long time to play out, but they're finally here, right? So now this is the here and now. This is what we got to look at. This is again something that's been building for a long time, and it's actually playing out. So we definitely are going to see this. I believe within the next month or two, we are going to see the price of Bitcoin come back down and retest the golden pocket again. A lot of buyers there. Now, interesting enough, I don't know if you guys are following Tom Vase, but this guy, for somebody who is a Bitcoin maximalist, can really get on the dire side of things and act like a super bear, a perma bear, however you want to address that. He's definitely calling for something much more drastic than 5,400. He was talking about how he's agreeing with Peter Schiff, and of course that was something else that I told you guys about. No big discovery there with Peter Schiff. I told you guys that if we break down below this formation, Peter Schiff would come out and really shit talk the crap out of Bitcoin, and sure enough, I mean, he came right out letting us know that this move would very likely come back and retest 3,000. The prior low from back in what was this, December 14th, 2018. He is calling for a potential, or in his words, or in his sentiment, a definite retest of 3,000, possibly quite low. And Tone Vase did actually come out and say that he's in agreement with what Peter Schiff is saying, that we are going to come back and retest 3,000 again. I don't know if I'm ready to jump on that board. I'm actually skeptical of that whole statement between the two guys, between Peter Schiff and Tone Vase. I do think we're going to come at a stop at the most here at 7,800. Not to say that we couldn't wick down below here, but we should find a definite bounce here at this area, right around this right here, would be the ultimate low at 41.94, which again would be me saying that this whole thing means that I would be in agreement, but I'm not. I am definitely not. This would be the super dire, super bear scenario here at $4,200. I do think again that we are going to come back and retest the quite possibly 5,500, but not. I think this is a far cry to say that we are going to come back and retest these areas. I would expect a certain bounce before this area here, or at the very least at the 70 or 54, $5,500 area, and some buying pressure. A lot of bulls coming in here and taking the price upward. Again, not to say that we can't wick below this area. I do think we can. Definitely, we've seen that happen. It could quite potentially come back and wick down to this area, 4,200. But I don't think we're going to stay there. I don't think we're going to sideways trade for a significant amount of time. I do think this is going to get bought up way before the 4,100 mark. All right. So again, as usual, I'll tell you that we need to see that whole full move actually play out down to this area, and then we'll reassess. It's kind of how we're doing here. We've actually done a sort of a midterm reassessment here at these current levels. But again, everything looks and points to the fact that we not to the fact, but the very likely scenario that we are going to come back and retest the 377 on the downside, the 618, and then ultimately within the golden zone here. 54, 5,500. Okay, so that is something that I am looking for, and I do actually want to look at the shorts and the longs here for Bitcoin. We did see prior to this move, we did see the shorts taking a bounce here. We did see a lot of more shorters coming into the market and putting their shorts on. No pun intended there, but actually putting their shorts on here. We did see an uptick. We did see that momentum and that whole sentiment actually come back, and sort of a telling sign of what was to come here with that too. And then also we do see the longs just crashing right here as of late, definitely coming back down and retesting these prior areas. Although there's not a whole lot of technical analysis to be done with the shorts and the longs. This is just, I use this as a tool for the overall sentiment, really. It really just goes back to test the sentiment of the market and see what people are doing, right? So we do see here a lot of longs getting liquidated, people getting long at the end of this triangle formation and actually being liquidated with this whole move. And right now at the current moment, shorts are staying steady. But I do think we should see another uptick in shorts here. Because again, I don't think we're done with the move. So temporarily, we might see, as we do see here, we do see a bounce in the longs here, because quite naturally there would be a bounce. I mean, it wouldn't be like I told you guys, it wouldn't be just a straight down move all the way down. We were gonna find some support along the way down, and as we're seeing right now, that whole situation being played out. All right, so. Let me know what you guys are thinking. Definitely like to discuss. I do want to give a shout out to Crypto Steve for always staying engaged with the channel, always commenting, always letting us know what he is doing. And just appreciate you, Crypto Steve, staying engaged with this channel. I always appreciate when you leave your comments down there. I also want to give a shout out to Azrar Abbasi, Jason Payment, and Marvin Robinson. All three as new members. Welcome to the community. Welcome to this channel. I want to give you a warm welcome. And I also want to invite you to stay engaged with us and actually comment down below. Let us know what you think of the channel and the content so far. I always like it when you guys do that. And then we can always discuss your strategy, what you guys are doing, what you guys are into. I usually get into a lot of these crypto altcoins. But if there's something that you guys want me to cover, something that you guys like to see on these videos, definitely leave it down in the comments. We love to do that and stay engaged with the community. So thank you guys. Thanks to all you new members to the channel. Thank you, Crypto Steve, for staying engaged with us here at the channel. So that's in a gist. That's what we should expect here for. I'm actually looking at BNB. I don't know what happened there, but that's actually what we can expect in the next month or two as far as price action with Bitcoin. As we did see this whole formation here take about 3 months. I do think I am leaning towards a quicker recovery as opposed to an elongated and dip, or not even a bear market, but just a bearish resolution and continuation, really, for the midterm of things, right? Again, I don't want to get too bearish on this whole situation. As I've told you in this channel, unless we dip down below the $5,500, $5,400 range, then I am willing to change my mind and really start looking at actually what Peter Schiff and Tone Vays are talking about. Whether we might be coming back to the bear market, and this was just a short-lived pump, and now we're actually heading down for lower lows, even lower than these price actions. Certainly, if we do break below this area, then this here at 4,200 becomes more of an actual possible reality, and then 3,200 also comes into the picture at that point. But we're so far away from that again, I wanted to at this point get away from that whole mentality and that whole frame of mind. I do want to focus more on what's going on right here, right now. That's again more of a crystal ballish type of conversation, which I don't want to get into, but I just want to make sure that I do establish and let you guys know what I'm looking for here in the next couple of months, which will ultimately lead us to about 54, 5,500. That is the full move, and that is playing this out perfectly. In the perfect world, this would be it. But again, it doesn't mean that that's going to happen. All right, so let's get down into the shorter time frames, and then we'll get into some alts here. But the 4 hour, stretch this out a little bit so we can see a little better here. So yeah, I mean, from the shorter time frame, everything looked also again in accordance to what I've just been saying here. Talking about the daily, look at the RSI just looking weak. No buying pressure here, whatsoever. Just the price being continuously pushed down, and we also see here on the price action with the EMA supporting that theory. That I mean, we just came back and retested the 30 simple here, and we found a rejection off of that area. And then this previous pivot here, previous point of support here, now acting as certain resistance. It looks like we want to come back and retest the 30 here, but I do expect a rejection. Now, for the lower time frames, right? This is looking very bearish, right? It looks like it's more pressure to the downside, and we can actually come back and retest down here where the 377 was coming in with the daily chart right here. And actually put a line of support there, right in here where the 377 is also coming in on the daily, right? And we actually wicked off of there. There's a lot of buying pressure off of that area. All right, so being rejected off the 30 here, unless we get above the 30 and we start retesting the 21, that's where I would find an ultimate rejection and come back down and retest not only the previous area of support here, but also coming back down to retest the 377 down here at coming in at, what is this, 7,800, 7,850, somewhere around there. That is quite the possibility. Again, coming back and retesting the 30, the 21. I don't think at this point, I'm not too sure that we're going to retest the 21. I do think that we get rejected before that. We might get a wick before in between the 30 and the 21. That is just would be a typical move on Bitcoin side for us to actually try and attempt that. But again, I don't see that happening. Even if we do get above the 21, because we are now in a new trend, right? Again, the trend is your friend till the end of the trend. That is a typical saying, and it is very true. I do like to follow in on that. We are now in a new trend. The new trend seems to be a bearish trend until told otherwise. So until that point, until we have officially reversed, then we're staying with this current trend that we are on a downward momentum, downward trend. So we are going to continue to stay that. So if anything, this is where a lot of shorters will come in and start shorting the heck out of it, as we did see with the shorts here, as I was showing you guys earlier. Where's my shorts? Where's my no pun intended there? Here we go. The shorts right here. We did see a small retracement on the shorts. People are thinking that we are going to have a bounce, but I do see again that the shorts are going to come back and come back into the market and start shorting the market. All right, so let's go back here. So naturally, we should see more people shorting Bitcoin here within the shorter time period. Again, it's just not looking like it actually wants to come back and retest the 21, although that is a possibility. We just discussed that. Let's look at the 1 hour now and work our way up. The 1 hour, just again, look, we're trading right at the 30, but it does look like a rejection off of the 30 currently. We did get above the 21 and this 100 simple here, but we actually could not hold that. We did open and close above it, but actually we did not. We were unable to keep the price in that direction. We actually broke down below it. Again, yet another bearish sign on the 1 hour. The RSI is looking pretty weak. It is finding some support here at the 21 EMA within the RSI here, the stochastic. But that seems to only be temporary. If we do break down below it here on the hourly, you bet I think we are going to find that it does translate to the higher time frames. The 2 hour, the 3 hour, the 4 hour, those things would also come in confluence and actually show us that we're heading for that continuation on the lower side. All right, so taking a look at the 2 hour. 2 hours just looking pretty weak, just below the 21 here, or just above the 21 here. But it's flattening out here. Unless we have some significant buying pressure here, I don't think that this is going to point to the upwards or point to the upside. And I definitely don't think we're going to come back and retest the bullish control zone here at any moment soon. Right, look at how long this has been dragging on for. Again, finding just temporary buying support here, but not lasting too long here. We're currently being supported by the 30 on the 2 hour. 2 hour now. All right, look at the 3 hour. Yeah, 3 hour just looked like it's trading at the 30. Looks more like the 4 hour. Looks like the 4 hour and the 3 hour, and actually pretty good consolidation there. Pretty good confluence there. It's going to be very hard for Bitcoin to actually come back and retest the 21. That would mean from current price action, that would mean about a 6% move to the upside. I just don't think that there's enough buyers right now. The dip is all too soon. And a lot of people are were scared off their positions. A lot of people were liquidated off of their positions. A lot of loss. A lot of selling. Stop losses is what I'm trying to say here. A lot of stop losses were hit on the way down. So it's just too soon to even think about a proper bounce to the 21 here yet. All right. So I do think everything is in confluence from the lower time frames, from the 1 hour to the 4 hour. Everything seems to be in confluence. The daily also seems like it's also letting us know that we are going to be trading between the 377 and the 200. It seems like, and just no real reasons for us to get bullish on this. I mean, look at where the 30 is. That is a way more significant move if we even want to come back and retest the 30 from where we currently stand. That means a 13% move. A lot more buying pressure would have to come in to actually pull a move like that together. I just don't see it in the cards as of right now. I could be wrong, so don't take it don't take this as financial advice. In fact, and none of what I say should be taken as financial advice. Consult your expert, consult your whoever you like to consult when seeking investment advice. This is not what this is about. I'm only sharing my opinion. I'm only sharing what I'm doing and what I'm looking for. At the current moment, I can tell you that I did sell a huge part of my position in Bitcoin, and I have liquidated into cash so that I can buy more of this Bitcoin once it gets down into lower levels. If you want to get a scalp here, if you want to get into a scalp, there certainly is opportunity here on the shorter term. I would just advise you to be really careful, be really quick with your moves, right? I mean, there certainly was a scalping opportunity here within this range here. If you bought in at the 377 and then sold over here, I mean, that's a quick little scalp that could definitely and potentially have given you some earnings. Let's see here, that move would have been about 11 or 10%, right? So not too shabby there. So again, there's going to be some trading opportunities. Although I think this sideways trading has gone along for long enough, and the longer the time goes, the less opportunities you're going to find. So usually that's the case, right? Usually that's the case. All right, so let's see. Let's get into some alts here. I do want to bring up the fact that Link and XLM were admitted to the state of New York. So now you can trade XLM and Link in the state of New York. But I mean, look at what's been going on here with Link. Some major volatility. So maybe Link in particular is something that you might want to look to for opportunity. Again, just keep in mind that when Bitcoin dumps, everything else dumps along with it. We do see here Link not being not something that was the exception here. We do see here that Link did follow on the dip. It did recover quite nicely, but again coming back down and giving a lot of that bounce away into the bear territory, right? We're currently on the 2 hour, looking like the 21 is taming the price action here with Link being rejected by the 21 here. So I do think that we have more downside to go. This would be a key area of support here at 163. If we break down below the 163 marker, then I do think we come back and retest this prior low here at 142. I'm sorry, 146. All right, so that's on the shorter term. Let's look at the 4 hour. Yeah, 4 hour. I mean, just very much in confluence with the 2 hour. Certainly a more bearish posture. We are above the 30 here. We did find support on the 200 simple here, but being rejected by the 89 and the 55 here coming in confluence. Being rejected by it, but finding support at the 30. I don't think this is going to hold for very long, especially if we do see another dip in Bitcoin. All right. This is probably this bounce here was probably based on the fact that New York was allowed to trade XLM and Link on Coinbase Pro. I mean, could be right. What's to say that it didn't? What's to say that it wasn't a factor to consider when this dip or when this bounce actually took place, right? But overall, again, just be very careful. If you want to get into a scalp, get in and out pretty quickly. I don't recommend that you buy and hold any of these right now, especially because, again, we're in a significant downtrend, and the trend is only beginning, in my opinion. Looking at the daily here, trading between this channel here, these two areas of previous support and now newfound resistance. We see it here played out. I mean, to the T, right? I mean, wick right at it on the downside and another wick to the upside. So, I mean, it just tells you that we should have a little bit more trading here within this range. But again, I mean, just looking like just consolidation on the short term for Link here. Again, look for another opportunity to the downside. Again, I don't think we're through with the dip. So be very careful. Now let's look at XLM here. I had a okay bounce here based on what we heard today. This is a new daily as of an hour and 30 minutes ago. And we do see here that the news broke out earlier. We did see XLM having an okay bounce from there, but something to be very careful about is that XLM is actually, just been constantly on the downside, on the downtrend. Excuse me, retesting new lows and actually finding lower territory, finding lower prices. So not too fond of XLM right now, even with the positive news that XLM is now allowed to be traded in Coinbase Pro in the state of New York. All right. Let's look at, that was the daily. Let's look at the lower time frame, see if we do see any sort of different news. Nope. 4 hours letting us know the 21 is acting as resistance here on the RSI. And again, being rejected by the 21, staying above the 30. But you could say that there would be some sideways trading between the 30 and the 21. But again, pending a further dip on Bitcoin's side, we are going to break down below the 30 and come back and retest this 0.05059 on XLM. Let's look at the 1 hour. 1 hour actually does not look too bad. Retesting the 55, but it's actually being rejected. If we start opening and closing some 4-hour candles here above the 55, then we could say that this run does get extended. But at this point, it's just it's just standby in my opinion. So if you guys are looking for a quick scalp, look for that. If we again close a 4-hour candle to above the 55, then we could find continuation to the 200 EMA here, which would call for what we see here, about a 10% move. Not too bad, guys. So pay attention to that. That brings up a good point for me. Let's actually put a little price label target here at the 200 EMA for a possible move. All right. So if you are looking for a scalp, here's a possible opportunity. Again, the trigger would be if we can close some 4-hour candles above, open and close above the 55 here. If we do that, then again, this would be my next target. Okay. All right. Okay, guys, I think I'm going to wrap it up here. Thanks all so much for joining. Thanks for your time and attention. If you are getting something out of these videos, if you are liking the content, please let me know by hitting the like button there. Also, please remember to subscribe and hit the bell notification button there when you do subscribe. That will definitely, YouTube will let you know whenever I put out these new videos, these new updates. And again, hopefully you got something in exchange for your time here. I will see you guys on the next video. Have a great night.